our first monthly meal planning call for the year 2020. I'm so excited that you guys are here. You guys are kicking off the year in the most amazing way, because you are wanting to plug into your nutrition and really, have success with it. And here's the truth of it, okay? Our success in our health is 80% what we put into our body. I love what Elena had up the other day. She did a whole video on we are what we eat, and it's really true, guys. We cannot out exercise a bad diet. I have done these programs, these Beachbody programs before, where my nutrition has been 50-50 or 40-60 or like really out the window, and guess what my results were? Nada. I had none. I didn't have anything good anyway, like they pretty much stayed the same. But if you want to really have success with your health, you really have to dial in with your nutrition. So we're going to run these calls monthly. And it's basically just going to be like an informational call where we'll kind of go over the meal plans with you guys. And we'll also, whatchamacallit, I'm losing my train of thought. We'll go over the different meal plans with you guys. And, we'll let you, it'll be a good opportunity for you, if you've fallen off track, it would be a great call for you to get on to kind of get plugged back into your nutrition, maybe get some new tips and new tricks and new strategies to have success. So if you have any questions throughout this call, just put them in the chat. Like if there's anything specific about any meal plan, you're like, oh, I didn't know that, and you have a question or something pops into your head, just put it in the chat and I'll try to go through them at the end to answer, any specific questions on any specific meal plans. So basically, there's going to be some people in this group who are doing Bar Blend. I know a lot of new people have joined us with that program, and I'm really excited about doing it. But regardless of the fitness program that you're doing, the nutrition really needs to be on point. And we're going to have a couple of different options for you with the nutrition, with the programs. So one of the options that you're going to have is the basic nutrition guide that you're going to get from Beachbody. So this is going to come with your Bar Blend package. It's the basic nutrition guide for all the recipes that they give you. They're going to give you the option of using the container system or using the 2B mindset. And so those are the two main nutrition programs with Beachbody. So the Portion Fix containers are these little color-coded containers, and each one is for a different food group, right? So you have your fruits, your veggies, you have proteins in here, you have carbohydrates in here, you have healthy fats in here, and then you have seeds and oils in here. And they look really small. They don't look like they hold much, but when you put them all together on a plate, you'll be really, really surprised, if you're new to this, how much food it actually is that you're eating in a day. Like, I know I was shocked. And the first time I saw these containers, the first thing I did was I actually laughed about it. I was like they just seemed ridiculous to me. But the thing was, I had gotten to a point that I had hit my bottom. I had hit my health bottom, and I was really willing at that point to do anything. So my thoughts were, you know what? Well, I'm willing to try it. I'm willing to try it. I'm willing to see if it works, and do it the way that it's designed. Because if I did, then I would know if it worked. And it does. It really does work. So I've been using these containers. I still use them to this day. It's almost 5 years later that I still use these containers. And in the beginning, what I really was overwhelmed with was what goes in these containers. I mean, fruits and veggies are obvious. That's an obvious one. Although sometimes you'd be surprised what's considered a fruit and what's considered a vegetable. But these three containers got very confusing because beans are in here if you're not a vegetarian. Oh, no, if you're not a vegetarian. If you are a vegetarian, then they're in here. So that's very interesting to me. Right? Did I get that right? I mean, I still get confused by it, right? So it's a carbohydrate. Like I had chili tonight, and the beans that are in there would be considered a carbohydrate. But if you are I think, is it vegetarian or vegan? It might be a vegan. If you're a vegan, then they're actually considered a protein. because they're high in, it's a high protein carbohydrate. So anyway, my point is I would get very confused by these containers. This one got really confusing, like where are walnuts? Is it here or is it here? Almonds are here, but then walnuts are here. And guys, in the beginning, it is going to feel a little overwhelming from time to time. And so that's why I really encourage you to get to know your food lists. Okay, so with all of these programs, okay, it's going to come in this guide. It's also in our new Challenger Journal. So everybody that joins our groups should have gotten a new Challenger Journal. It is an amazing resource. If I am your coach, I know that I email all my new customers and coaches. I email them the Challenger Journal. If I'm not your coach and you don't get an email, that's totally fine. We also have it in our Rise Up Project group. If you go to the units of the group, and it's the first thing, it's going to say New Challenger Journal. You're going to click on there, and in there, it's a great resource. You're going to print that out and just go through it step by step. It tells you exactly, no matter what program you're doing, whether you're doing 21 Day Fix, Bar Blend, 2B Mindset, Ultimate Portion Fix, it doesn't matter. That new Challenger Journal is really for any program that you're doing. Print it out, and in there are food lists. And what I like to tell my people when they're starting these programs, because we have some picky eaters, right? People who start and they're like, oh, I don't eat that. I don't like vegetables. And I tell them, you would be surprised. You would really be surprised. There's so many different choices of foods, and you'd kind of be surprised at what you might like. So what I encourage you to do is locate those food lists, print them out, and once you print them out, take out a highlighter or two. I don't know why I have two, but take out a highlighter and just highlight all the foods that you like. And now you're going to have an idea of what you can fill each of your containers with. Okay.
Can I just say one more thing? Can I say one more thing?
Yes.
If you go onto Beachbody On Demand on the program itself, I don't know if you were going to get to that, all the containers are listed on your phone as well. So if you're out in the market and you forget,
yes,
it's all online.
That is awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, if you guys have any points as I'm talking, you could certainly raise your hand or take yourself off mute if you have a really good thing to share for whatever I'm talking about, because I kind of tend to talk fast and there's a lot of stuff that I want to cover. So please just chime in at any time. Or you could write it in the chat. Hopefully I'll see it. But yes, so if you're a digital person, so I am a huge pen and paper person. And when I first started with these programs, I would look at these containers, look at the list. I didn't even use the highlighter then. And I don't even think, we didn't even have the new Challenger Journal then. So I was just going by, I think I got a little booklet. So similar to this booklet. So when I started, I just did 21 Day Fix, and it came with a tiny little get started right booklet. And in there was food lists. And I felt like I was all over the place. Like I was looking at the list, looking at the containers, trying to figure it out, and then trying to figure out how many containers I get in a day, and it was just very overwhelming. Well, luckily, since I started, they came out with the Beachbody On Demand app. They also came up with the 21 Day Fix app. So if you're not a paper and pen person, like Arlene said, you just get that 21 Day Fix app. It's right on your phone, and you can locate the food list. You can also calculate how many containers you're supposed to get in a day, because this is dependent upon what your weight is, what program you're going to be following, how long you're exercising for. So if you're doing a program like 80 Day Obsession, you're going to probably eat more containers in a day than if you're doing 21 Day Fix, because with 21 Day Fix, you're only working out for half an hour. With 80 Day Obsession, you're working out for a longer time, so you're going to be eating more containers. So the first thing you're going to need to figure out, did you want to say something, anybody? I feel like somebody wants to say something. Are we good? Okay. So, all right. So where was I? So I was saying, so dependent on how long. So the first thing you want to figure out, if you're following the container system, is what bracket you are in. Okay. So they have a calculation through the app. Where else can the app? I'm sure there's a calculation right in here, because you have to figure out how many containers you're eating in a day, how many calories you're supposed to be eating in a day. And like I said, that's going to be dependent upon your weight, how, whether or not you're going to be exercising, and whether or not you're trying to lose weight or you're just trying to maintain and maybe build muscle. So here we go. They tell you right here, right in the Beachbody On Demand Guide to Nutrition, this guide right here kind of breaks it down just by calorie bracket. So they just tell you, okay, if you're this weight and you're doing, if your weight is this and you're a beginner to intermediate, you're going, and your workout program intensity. So if you're trying to lose weight, you're going to fall into these categories. If you're trying to maintain your weight, you're going to fall into these categories. If you're trying to build muscle mass, you're going to fall into these categories. So that's your first step, is kind of figuring out how many of these containers you need. And the way that you know how many containers you need is basically what calorie bracket you fit into. So for me, with this container, I'm going to use the container system. I'm going to get into 2B Mindset in a little bit. That's the other nutrition program that we have to offer, and it works a little bit differently. With that, I'm going to actually be doing something. I'm going to be doing Bar Blend, but I'm going to be following something called Times Nutrition. Does anybody have anything to add? I feel like is everybody good? Okay. All right. So I'm going to be following Times Nutrition. I've done Times Nutrition with 80 Day Obsession, and I absolutely love it. It is great. It takes out all the guesswork of what to eat, and that I love. Also, I'm a repetitive eater. I can eat the same thing over and over and over again. So I can eat leftovers all the time. I basically can eat the same dinner every night. It doesn't bother me. I've been eating the same breakfast for pretty much every day for 2 weeks now. So, you know, I'm just a creature of habit, so that works for me. Okay, so that's a great question, Alina. Thanks for asking. So Times Nutrition is going to be available if you've ever gotten the Ultimate Portion Fix program. So if you wanted to try Times Nutrition, but you did not get the Ultimate Portion Fix program, what you can most likely do is go online, you have a couple of options. One, you could get the Ultimate Portion Fix program. It's available on Beachbody. And that's basically a series of videos, and it basically walks you through what the Ultimate Portion Fix is. It kind of takes the nutrition to the next level. So it teaches you about carb cycling. It's very similar to 2B Mindset. It teaches you how to grocery shop. Teaches you, oh my gosh, there's 3 different pathways. So they kind of go over those pathways. The first one is called the Foundational Fix, and that's the basic container system. Then there's carb cycling, which I have tried, and to be honest, I don't recommend it. I had actual very bad stomach pain from it, because what carb cycling is it basically takes you from 2 days, you deplete your body of carbs. You still have carbohydrates, but it's very, very minimal, and you're only having them early in the morning. So you get like 1 purple and 1 yellow early in the day, and then nothing else. It's just protein and vegetables. You're eating protein and vegetables at every meal, protein and vegetables, protein and vegetables. And what you do is, on a regular carb cycling cycle, you do 2 days. It's only 3 weeks. You can only do it for 3 weeks. You can't do it for any longer than that. It's not meant to be a lifelong type of a thing. It's more of like the diet of the fix, if that makes sense. Because the Ultimate Portion Fix is really not a diet. It's meant to be a lifestyle, because we're eating from all the food groups, right? But carb cycling is the diet of it, because it's not meant to be lifelong. It's meant to be a short-term thing where you're going to get extreme results in a short amount of time. And basically, so you deplete your body for 2 days, and then for 1 day, you go back to carbs, like your regular. Actually, you go a little bit higher than you normally would. So now you're eating like 3 to 4 yellows and 3 to 4 for 1 day. Well, what happened with me, the first round was okay. I had 2 days carb deplete, 1 day regular, 2 days carb deplete, 1 day. And by the third time around, I had such severe stomach pain, and I really couldn't poop Sorry, TMI. I know it's being recorded and everything. Chloe, I'm sorry, but I got a little bit, I got a little bit constipated, and it hurt so bad. I was like, I really think that's why she says you can't do that type of thing like long term. So then she even recommends in the Ultimate Portion Fix program, she says, look, if you try the carb cycling, 2 days on, 1 day off, 2 days, and you notice it's really not working for you for whatever reason, there's a modified version of it. And in the modified version, you do 1 day on, 2 days off, 1 day on, 2 days off. I tried it. It was okay. I didn't get the stomach pain, but by then I had a bad taste in my mouth. I had it, and like I wanted to move on. Like it wasn't good for me. Somebody else might have had a different experience, but that's my experience with carb cycling. But with the Ultimate Portion Fix, it'll kind of teach you about that, a little bit extended version of what I just taught you about. It'll teach you more about the foundational fix, the lifelong style of eating with the containers. And then it'll also teach you about time nutrition. But you don't necessarily need, if you wanted to kind of get maybe the Cliff's Notes version of Ultimate Portion Fix and you didn't really want, I don't know, maybe it's not PC. Hopefully nobody from Beachbody is going to be catching this. But you could probably Google it. You know what I mean? And I have, you could probably Google like timed nutrition for Plan B. So if you know that you're going to be eating out of Plan B, you could do time nutrition plan for Plan B, and you'll get all different types of, meal plans. And this is what I really like about, I'm going to show you guys really quick. I had it at the page and then I kind of lost it. Like I said, I had great results with it with 80-Day Obsession. With 80-Day Obsession, you know what? Now I'm just remembering, Arlene, I know you did that program too. I love that program.
I did.
I want to do that program again. I loved it. It was so good. I just have to have time for that hour-long workout again.
Yeah, no, I don't have time for an hour-long workout.
I know. And with the whole nutrition block. So that's the part with the timed nutrition. Okay, so with time nutrition, what's really cool about it, you can find time nutrition. Oh, good. So if you guys look in the chat, Samantha just gave some advice on how you can find, here it is, how you can find timed nutrition in your Beachbody On Demand library. But I'll be honest with you guys, at some point in your journey of health, good and being healthy, I think it's really important for you to check out and purchase, whatever, To Be Mindset and also Ultimate Portion Fix. Because all it is more knowledge. It's more knowledge for you, and it's a lifelong thing. Once you have those videos, you have them for life. I'm not saying to go out there and get it today. If you want to try out time nutrition, you probably could pull it off without having to necessarily get this. But at some point in your journey, I think it really behooves you. I think it would only benefit you. You're not going to, it's more knowledge. How could that be bad? You know what I'm saying? Okay. So it basically with time nutrition, it works out exactly what you should be eating for each meal. And what they have is something called a workout block. All right. So what they tell you is, okay, they give you an example. Let's say you wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning. So you're going to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and you're going to have a pre-workout meal. And that's actually where my pre-workout meal was birthed. If you guys follow me on Instagram, you see every single day I eat a pre-workout meal. That all started because I did 80-Day Obsession, and I loved that part so much because I noticed I got so much more out of my workout. And your pre-workout meal doesn't have to be my pre-workout meal. I do the eggs, arugula, and toast because that's what, and teaspoon of coconut oil, because that's what this calls for, a green, a red, and a yellow. It happened to be something that I absolutely loved. So I just continued it over and over. And I basically ate that same exact breakfast for like 90 something days straight. And I never got sick of it, which is so crazy. But you don't have to do that. Guys, there's so many easy ways. Google and YouTube are like the best inventions ever. If you ever have a question about anything, you could go to Google, go to YouTube, and you can find a video on it. You can find a meal plan about it. When I started back in 2015, they did not have all the resources they have. They did not have Beachbody On Demand. It didn't exist. All I had was my challenge group, the little guide that they gave me, and I had Google. And I Googled everything. So in the beginning, I didn't always have like my questions answered all the time. So I would go to Google and I would say, meal plans for Plan B 21-day fix. And I'd get hundreds. Now you'd probably get thousands. I always think that's a great place to start. Highlighting all your food lists, or like Arlene said, accessing them on, in the app. And you can highlight. I think there's a way to highlight even with text. I don't know how to do it though. Like where you could actually do it on a screen, but I don't know. Does anybody know how to do that? I don't know how to do that. And then, so I have to go back to Time Nutrition. So that there's the workout block. So you have your pre-workout meal, then you have your energize, then you work out, and during the workout you have hydrate, then you have recover with a fruit. So I'm excited about that. I did like that. I usually would have strawberries and chocolate recover, and it was like having another dessert, and that just helps protein, that helps you build muscle and all that good stuff. And then after that, you would have, again, it kind of piggybacks each other, or like, not piggybacks, it bookends each other. You're going to have a green, a red, and a yellow, and a teaspoon again. So just like the pre-workout meal. So it's called the post-workout meal. So I forget what I used to have for that one. I don't remember what I used to have. I have to think about that now. We'll have to think of something good. Maybe that would be a good time to have I was just going to say yogurt, but there's no fruit there. I got to think of something good. What would the green be?
Georgie, what were the containers again?
A green, a yellow, and a red, and a teaspoon.
Oh,
at 10 a.m. I'm like, what am I going to eat?
Sweet potato, ground turkey, and spinach. And then my teaspoon was my coconut oil.
Yeah, see, that's the cool thing about these meal plans. There's so many people who have followed Time Nutrition in Plan B. So like I said, what I'm going to probably do to make my meal plan is I'm going to go to Google and I'm going to put in Time Nutrition Plan B meal plans, and I'm going to get a whole bunch of different ideas for what the heck could I eat for a green, a yellow, and a red. Oh, I can eat that. Oh, I like that. Okay, good. I'm going to eat that. So I think it's important when you're starting out to really just find the things that you like and just plug them in like a puzzle in your day. If you know that you have to eat this many containers, maybe you're not going to be doing Time Nutrition and you're going to just do the regular portion containers. And okay, I get 3 purples in a day. I get 3 fruits in a day. Well, where am I going to have one? Well, I'm going to have one with my Shakeology, right? I'm going to have one maybe with breakfast. I'll have some fruit with my oatmeal. I'll have a yellow of oatmeal. I'll have some fruit. And for my red, I'll have some Greek yogurt. Great. That meal's done. And then my third fruit might be a snack, an apple with some almond butter in the middle of my day. And that's it. There, my fruits are done. Okay, now let's get my yellows covered. And I want to cover my yellows through the day. And you just want to make sure you're kind of spacing your containers out throughout the day. But if you did want to know about the rest of Time Nutrition, you could just look it up on Google if that's the plan that you guys want to follow. First, figure out what bracket you're in. Go to Google, find some meal plans, and you'll be good to go. And then the other thing I wanted to cover, how much time do I have left? I'm getting nervous that I'm running out of time.
No, that doesn't say anything. But
Oh, good.
For the 10:30 meal, you could.
Yes.
I do Shakeology. I mean, I wouldn't do. I know it's a yellow, but I mean, there's definitely carbs in Shakeology. But I definitely add oats to my Shakeology sometimes.
Yes,
So,
I've heard sweet potato is delicious. I think Arlene loves that. And she puts it in and it makes it like butter, right? It makes it like nice and like a puddingy, right?
mm-hmm. Oh, I don't know. I never did sweet potato.
She said,
So,
yeah.
I
I was
used to
just
put sweet
saying.
potato in my shake when I was doing 80 day.
Yeah.
I was just
That's
saying
probably why.
Shakeology because that's what I have at 10:30 every day. So you can make that, like spinach and
Yeah, you could do Shakeology. Spinach or kale is really, really good in Shakeology. And guys, that's the one thing I wanted to mention on this call about Shakeology. The one thing I love, love, love about it, it's that one meal of the day I don't have to think about. I love that I'm like, okay, that red is covered, and whatever I put in there, it's covered. I have those containers done. Next, move on. It's already done. And then I'm getting a healthy meal. I'm getting my 72 superfoods. I'm getting my probiotic for the day. I'm getting my cravings covered. I can make it into ice cream. I can make it into pudding. I can make it into, a thick chocolate ice cream milkshake. And that's going to like kill those chocolate cravings. Like today, the shake made me feel so much better. I don't know, like that first sip, I was like, oh, but for my shake, it's going to be my next meal. So that's what I'm probably going to do. Like for the 10 a.m. meal, I'm going to look
Can I just interrupt you 1 second, sweetheart? So I typed something in the message. When you're looking at your containers, you want to stay to the top of the list.
Yes.
And I'm going to say it so it's recorded because I don't know if the text messages get recorded. So even though applesauce isn't on the list as of purple, it's at the bottom, people. So there's sugar and extra stuff in it. If you really want to see results, you want to kind of stay to the higher part of the list.
Yep.
I know I'm a big banana person. I love bananas, but when I don't have them, I'm not saying I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm like, weight just falls off me. But there is definitely a difference because it's more volume in a banana than the fruit. So you want to look at like your blueberries and your raspberries and those kind of fruits. Stay at the top of your list.
Yes, those.
Sorry.
That's a really
I had to say something. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, that's great. I love it. That's a great point, and I definitely am glad you mentioned it because that's something I did not want to forget to tell you guys. Because a lot of people, what will happen is they'll get to a point where they plateau, and they say, you know what, I'm eating, and I believe them. They're eating off the things. They're not eating Twinkies. That's not their purples and their yellows. They're eating all of the right things off the list, but they're like, I can't lose weight anymore. And when I tell them is stick to the top third of the list, and you'll probably start seeing better results. So instead of eating I love the carb reference also. If you look at the carbs, waffles, whole grain waffle is an approved food for your yellow. So is wine. But if all your yellows are wine and waffles, you're probably not going to have the best results. But the very top of the list is sweet potato because it is so nutritionally dense. So Elena, putting in that sweet potato with that spinach, if you look at your greens, it's going to be spinach and kale. It's up there. Okay. So if you're putting Shakeology, kale or spinach, and sweet potato, and you used to put banana and whatever, watch, your results are going to get better. I guarantee it. Like if you're consistent with that and you start doing that every day, I bet you your results, you're going to boost like that last 5 pounds that you couldn't get rid of. You're going to get rid of it. So that's an excellent point is what I'm trying to say. And I really appreciate you bringing it up. So for the next meal with the Time Nutrition, it's at 1:00. That's where I'm going to have my shake. I'm going to have, and it's because it's a purple, a red, and a teaspoon. But halfway through the program, if I get to that plateau, maybe I'm going to switch it around and I'm going to have my shake up there and do what Elena does. Or maybe you want to switch it around. You know what I'm saying? That's something that can change too so that you don't get too bored, which is good. The next meal this was my favorite. This was my favorite one.
So we have 10 minutes.
Okay. This is my favorite meal. It's at 4:00 in the afternoon. This is based on waking up at 6 a.m. 4:00 in the afternoon. It was a purple, a blue, and a green. So that's where my green, my arugula, goat cheese, and pears was born. Or arugula, goat cheese, and strawberries. Or arugula, goat cheese, and anything.
Apples.
Any fruit. Blueberries. It didn't matter. Whatever. Bananas I never tried. But strawberries, blueberries, apples, pears, watermelon. It's all so good with the goat cheese, arugula, and that's where I found that mix. And it's the perfect afternoon snack. Because it gets you like that full feeling. It's got the fiber from the greens. And guys, I'm like addicted to arugula. I could eat it all day long. All right, and then my next meal is 6:30, so that's dinner. And this was a cool meal too because it had almost every container. You had a green, a red, a yellow, an orange. So in that meal, what I started eating was arugula 3 times a day. Sorry, guys, I'm not giving you much variety, but arugula, salmon, arugula, salmon, rice, like a brown rice or a sweet potato, pine nuts, and a teaspoon was like some kind of olive oil or whatever. And I made like almost like, you know, like the bowls, like you go to like those bowl places. I would make a bowl and it would have like a little bit of rice, a little arugula, a little, because it's got like almost everything. The only thing it doesn't have really is the blue and the purple. So I kind of like that because that meal at the end of the night filled me up and I did not go for those like little sweet treats as much at the end. And then it also recommends you have recharge at night, which is great because it's like a dessert. It tastes like a vanilla cupcake. So I would have that desserty thing and that's it. So that is my plan for Bar Blend. And I'm pretty much going to do Time Nutrition. The other program that I want to quickly talk about is 2B Mindset. 2B Mindset is another Beachbody nutrition program. It is fantastic. It's fantastic. Some people, the containers work, which happens to be me. Some people, 2B Mindset works. But they're both great programs. They're just meant for different people. You're going to have to figure out who you are as a person and what works well for you. And the only way you're going to figure it out is by going through it and trying the different things and seeing what works. And sometimes a recipe will work. Sometimes it won't. Sometimes a plan will work. Sometimes it won't. But the only way you're going to do it is to do it. So you guys got this. So with 2B Mindset, there's 4 main principles. I'm just give you a quick overview. So it's water first, meaning before every meal, you're going to drink 12 ounces of water before food hits your mouth. And I love that. I love that principle. And I think that principle could be applied to any nutrition program that you decide to follow. The other principle is veggies most, which is also another principle that I think is fantastic. There are times where I go over my containers in green and I don't stress it because I think that veggies most, you can eat as many veggies as you want. If you're going to go over in any of the containers, make it veggies. You know what I'm saying? Load up your plate with veggies. So water first, veggies most, track and see. And that basically just means you're going to have, the third one really is weigh yourself, right? You have to weigh yourself daily. And then, so every morning you would weigh yourself. That's a principle. So that's like a principle of the program. It's part of the program, which again is something I think kind of anybody could be doing because you're using it as data, not as a way to make you feel bad about yourself and your emotional well-being, not to say you're a horrible person and to shame you into doing eating in an unhealthy way. The number on the scale is just meant as data. Is what you're doing working? The reason why people don't want to hop on a scale is because they know they haven't been doing what they're supposed to be doing. That's why people don't want to hop on a scale. So if you start weighing yourself every day, you say, all right, well, I ate 5 donuts yesterday and I went up 2 pounds. Maybe that was not a good idea, but and sometimes it's not going to be as obvious as that. Sometimes it's going to be, you know what, I'm eating a lot of waffles and drinking a lot of wine instead of having sweet potatoes and kale. Maybe I could switch up what I'm eating in my containers and my weight will reflect that, right? So I think that, again, that principle is a really good one that can be applied to any program that you follow. And then the last one is track and see, which that's the one part of the 2B Mindset that I had a hard time following because it was like, for me, it was another thing to do. And so I had difficulty with it, which is why it didn't really work for me. But again, I think it's a great thing. And I think it works for so many people. And just because it didn't work for me doesn't mean it won't work for you. The only way you're going to know if it works is to try it out and see. Just like, green eggs and ham. The only way you're going to know if you like it is if you try it. So, I really do think that, again, both programs are very, very useful in educating yourself about nutrition and using what works. Take what works and leave the rest. What's that expression? Take take what you like and leave the rest, basically. And then I just wanted to quickly go over with you guys, what did I to cover? Oh, with 2B mindset. The only other thing, how much time do I have left? It's like a minute.
No.
Oh, good.
3:32. 3 minutes
All right.
and 32 seconds.
All right, so basically the last thing I want to talk about with 2B mindset, and maybe this will help you determine whether you want to do containers or whether you want to follow 2B mindset, is that she follows a plan called the Plate It method. So you have the 4 principles that you follow, and then you use the Plate It method. And in the Plate It method, she basically teaches you how to plate your food for each meal. So what is breakfast going to look like? You basically picture your plate of food, kind of like fractions in school, and like a pizza. Remember when they used to teach you fractions in school and they would have the 8 pieces? Well, if you take that plate and you break it up into sections, she teaches you how many carbs you should have on your plate for breakfast, how many carbs you should have for lunch, because it's going to look different, and how many carbs you're going to have for dinner, which is 0. Okay? And then she tells you how many greens or vegetables you're going to have for each one, which in breakfast is 0, but for dinner is 75%, I believe, greens, if I remember correctly. And then, and so she teaches you, okay, for each one. And it really is interesting because, again, it kind of teaches you the science behind nutrition a little bit. And again, you can kind of mold that into maybe where you want to put your containers. Like that's kind of where I sometimes find these 2 programs intersect, is because I feel like if you use the container system with the 2B mindset way, you would be having your greens late in the day and your carbs and your fruits early in the day, which is the 2B mindset way, but she also talks about that in the containers. So ultimately, guys, I think both nutrition plans are amazing. And what I don't want you to do is I don't want you to feel overwhelmed, confused, and stressed out about this. Keep it simple. Go to the food list, start eating the foods that you like, go to Google and find a really simple meal plan to follow. Then what I want to tell you too is, this is probably going to be the last thing that I get to, in the Challenger Journal, to make it easy on yourself, we have these little grids for you. So if you are a paper and pen person, you can go to that Challenger Journal and you can print these out. It'll come with the journal. I think the journal's like 13 pages or 15 pages or something. And like I said, it walks you through step by step. And part of the journal is this grid. And what's great about this grid is it can be used for any bracket. Doesn't matter if you're A, B, C, D. And what you can do is this can go along with any research that you do on Google. What's up, girl? Do you have something to say, Arlene? Are you good? You good?
Oh, no, I'm saying you have just less than a minute.
Okay, so there's this grid. On the top, you would put your containers, and then you would be able to put all your meals. It's pretty much self-explanatory. And like I said, what I love to do is that first meal, I always write in the Shakeology, that's one meal, boom. I don't have to think about that one meal. And it's when you're feeling overwhelmed and you're feeling like maybe you're getting overwhelmed and confused, my advice is write it down, whether it's this piece of paper and a grid, or it's a scratch piece of paper that you're going to put up on the refrigerator. Just write it down, because when we write